For 25 years, Grace believed she was living the perfect life. She was married to Michael, a loving and devoted husband who worked hard to provide for their family. Michael's job required him to travel frequently, spending weeks and sometimes months abroad for business. Grace always trusted him and admired his work ethic, never once doubting his loyalty or intentions. However, as their 25th wedding anniversary approaches, Grace stumbles upon an old box in the attic while looking for some memorabilia to surprise Michael. Inside, she finds photos, postcards, and letters addressed to Michael from a woman named Sophia. The letters reveal a deep and intimate relationship that has lasted for decades. To Grace's horror, she realizes that Michael wasn't traveling for work, he was traveling the world with his first love, Sophia. The story unravels in a series of flashbacks and confrontations, detailing the layers of deception and Grace's journey through anger, heartbreak, and eventually self-discovery. Grace reflects on her life with Michael. He was a charming and successful man, always on the move, working hard to provide for their family. Though he was gone for extended periods, he would always return with extravagant gifts and stories of his travels. Grace never questioned him, she believed in their love and trusted him fully. But there were subtle signs, the unexplained absences, the phone calls he would take in private, and the way he seemed emotionally distant at times. Grace brushed it all off, believing that every relationship has its ups and downs. While cleaning out the attic one day, Grace finds a dusty box filled with mementos. Curiosity takes over, and she opens it, expecting to find old family photos. Instead, she finds photographs of Michael with a woman she doesn't recognize, Sophia. In these photos, Michael looks younger, but unmistakably happy, traveling to exotic places like Paris, Santorini, and Bali. As Grace digs deeper, she finds postcards and letters written in Sophia's handwriting, addressed to Michael, expressing love and a life shared together. Shock turns to disbelief. How could the man she loved for 25 years be leading a double life? Grace is devastated. She waits for Michael to return home from his latest business trip. When he does, she confronts him with the box of evidence. Michael's face drains of color as he realizes that his secret has been uncovered. After a long silence, he admits the truth. For the past 25 years, he had been traveling with Sophia, his first love. They had rekindled their relationship shortly after he and Grace got married, and ever since, he had been living two lives, one with Grace and one with Sophia. He explains that he couldn't let go of his feelings for Sophia. He loved Grace, but Sophia was the one who had captured his heart long before he met his wife. Every business trip was an excuse to meet Sophia, travel the world with her, and live the life he could never have with Grace. Grace is shattered. Every memory she thought was real, their anniversaries, their children's milestones, the quiet nights they spent together, feels tainted by Michael's lies. She feels betrayed, not just by the affair, but by the fact that he lived an entire other life behind her back. Her trust is destroyed, and she questions everything. Was he ever truly present in their life? Was anything real? Flashbacks fill her mind, Michael's suspicious behavior over the years, the unexplained absences, the times he was emotionally distant. Grace had always dismissed these as normal parts of a marriage, but now she realizes there were signs of his deceit. The narrative shifts to Sophia's perspective. She had been Michael's first love in college. They were inseparable until circumstances forced them apart. When Michael reached out to her years later, she was already married, but their old feelings resurfaced. Sophia had always known about Grace, but she believed Michael loved her more. Together, they traveled the world, always justifying their relationship by claiming that it was meant to be. Sophia never asked Michael to leave Grace, and in some twisted way, she convinced herself that their love was pure despite the lies. Grace is left at a crossroads. She could end her marriage and walk away, or she could try to rebuild the shattered trust and move forward. She spends days and nights replaying the years, trying to find answers. Her children, now grown, encourage her to prioritize her own happiness. In the end, Grace decides that she deserves better than living in the shadow of Michael's deception. She files for divorce, determined to reclaim her life and find her own path. The betrayal is something she will never forget, but it becomes a turning point in her life, one that leads her to rediscover her own strength and independence. The story concludes with Grace beginning her new life. She travels for the first time on her own, visiting the places she had once dreamed of seeing with Michael, but never did. As she stands on a beach in Bali, watching the sunset, she feels a sense of peace for the first time in years. She is no longer living a life dictated by someone else's lies. She is free,